Howdy, y'all. Welcome to another melodic composition with Gus Johnson. Super cool. Happy February 15th, day after Valentine's Day. It is uber cold in the Midwest, and I'm down in my basement composing. I have a blanket. It's freezing cold. Today we're talking about motifs in cells. A motif is just a small collection of stuff that repeats over and over, something that the listener can catch and hold on to, kind of. We're going to do a couple of things with it. We're going to state the motif and then vary it, and then we're going to try injecting it into just kind of randomly new material to help stabilize sections with lots of new material. Think of it like the Scooby-Doo chase scene, where Shaggy and Scooby kind of separate from the group and just go ham, but then, hey, there's Scooby, hey, there's Shaggy, so we still know that we're with the Scooby-Doo movie. All right, so I've got here just a start on some melodies. I have labeled them or bracketed them, if you wish, just to show what the motifs are, the little chunky dunks. All right, here we go. So I'm just going to go ahead and start re-inputting some of these pitches. I have this pre-composed, so I'm kind of looking over to my other screen. Not really major, this chunk, not really minor. I wasn't really following a tonality for this bit. Oops. And another one. Okay, so there's a couple of things that are similar between these two motifs that make them work. There's a lot of syncopated 16th note syncopation. There's a general idea of C major with some bluesy stuff thrown in there, so maybe there's kind of what it really is. There's an up, down, up, and then a down motion, so I guess that's kind of similar. Anyway, so I'm using some techniques from my previous videos to make these guys work. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to go red motif, green motif. That's my main idea here. I'm going to go double red next. So measure 3 and 4. Let's go ahead and make a double red, and then I'll vary it that time. Okay, so let's go ahead and do these variations. So I've got a red, green, red, red, or ABAA, if you want to think of it in terms of sentence structure. Okay, so no change there. I think that's just exactly the same, but here's something different. We'll go in a downwards motion, but a little different. Okay, so nothing super crazy there. I just, instead of going from low G on down, I started on high G and went down there instead, so I made kind of a peak. Cool. So there's a really easy way to do it. Start with an A motive, do a B, and then A again. I could also do the reverse of that, so I'm going to go A, B again, but this time I'm going to do the B motive twice, or motif. I call them motives because that's the way it looks to me. Okay, when I do my B motive the second time, let's go ahead and change it here to kind of the minor feeling. So I'm just going to lower the third and lower the seventh here. Just make it minor. And there's not really a rhyme or a reason to why I'm doing this. I'm literally just varying it. And I can do random stuff like that, and it will still sound okay because I'm following the rules of balancing the repetition with the new stuff. So you can kind of do whatever the heck you want so long as you follow the rules of sticking around the same idea and then not changing too much at one time. All right, and then this last repetition, let's go ahead and make it kind of funky. Let's put this in voice 2. Okay, get rid of these lower notes in voice 1. Okay, and just to make the last time more different than usual. Okay, so we're back again to that minor feeling where I've flatted my E's, I've flatted my B's, and that just brings it to the kind of C minor feeling there. Okay, so in total, I've got A motif, B motif, the original statements for both. A motif unvaried, and then A motif with a different ending. A motif original, B motif original. B motif with the minor feeling, then B motif original, and then B motif with minor and different type of rhythm. So if we listen to this guy, you can kind of hear the difference when I change some small things. It's really just majors and minors is really all I'm working with here. So there's our first idea. Let's go ahead and take the same techniques and apply it differently. So in my second and third example, I don't have multiple motifs created, like an A, B motif. I just have one motif. So let's go ahead and rewrite this. Alt-Shift-N to re-input notes here. Okay, so there's my voice 1. Let's go ahead and input voice 2. Let's see. Okay, so I've got this kind of small suspension thing going on here. Okay, nothing super crazy. Now I'm going to take literally the same idea, and I'm going to hit the R button to repeat it, and then I'm going to bump it up by 1. Then I'm going to do that one more time. So the whole idea just goes up by a step each time. Let's go ahead. I think... Uh-oh. I made a boo-boo. There we go. There. Sorry about that. I misspelled my my thing. So let's go ahead and add the fully diminished seventh there. So what you should be able to hear, this is just a starting point. Ooh, okay. So I have discovered that this trick doesn't quite work. So what I have to do is make some small adjustments. And you'll find that as you go through that you have to make some small adjustments depending on what sounds good and what doesn't. Whoop, and let's maybe just make that, what do you think? A flat? Yeah, I guess, because that keeps in the B diminished. Okay, so now here's my changed second statement. I'm doing all right. There you go. So that'll totally work. Whoops. Let's go ahead and re-input that. Just a couple of small changes to make that work better on its own. So that's another thing you want to keep in mind. You want your statements to work on their own as well as in context with each other. There you go. So I have statement number 1, statement number 2, but in kind of a different tonality. Statement number 3, but kind of in a different tonality. All they are is stepping up each time. Nothing too crazy about that. All right, third example. Notice here that I've got some grayed out notes. I just added kind of a bass bo-dong at the start of my 2-measure idea. So let's go ahead and actually repeat the... How do I do this? Let's see. Oh, I know it. I will copy, and then I will paste. And then I will paste, and then I will paste. Okay, so I've got my idea, and notice that it doesn't start on count 1, it starts on count 2, and that it has some extra material at the end of it. So it's not the same ending, it's just kind of the same middle material. And what this should show is that you can change things so long as you are repeating this stuff around it, if that makes sense, or in this case, the stuff in the middle. All right, so let's go ahead and re-input some of these notes. Now look at my source material. Bloop. Bloop. All right, here we go. Stick kind of in a D Dorian. Nothing super crazy here. Let's get a sample of just our little chunk. Boo doo 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 doo. And then the ending is going to be different each time. So here we go. Okay, so let's make a different ending here for this time. Let's go bunch of 16th notes. Then a couple of 8th notes. Let's see. Okay, there we go. So let's hear, just varying that ending is going to make it sound fresh. Whoops, except I need to... There we go. Re-input those pitches. Yeah. So just re-inputting that ending or making a new ending makes some pretty cool. Okay, go ahead and just keep doing that while I'm working. Whoops. All right, so let's go ahead and make a new ending for this guy. Let's go ahead and do some triplets. This is not the way I wrote it. Make that a triplet. Okay. Okay, we'll just add some staccatos, nothing super fancy there. Boom shakalaka. All right, so now what I've got going on is that kind of walk down. It's different than before. It's even a different type of division. Instead of being divided into 4, now we're divided into triplets or thirds. So let's taste this. Yeah, okay, kind of weird, kind of interesting, not too bad. All right, so let's go ahead and make our last time feel a little more final maybe. Okay. Okay, so that just should feel final. It's kind of cadential, very cadential there. So in total, I've got my original statement with an intro and an outro, my second statement, which is the same, but the outro is different. So because I'm changing so much each time, I've got the same intro and I've got the same statement, but my ending is pretty different each time. You want to make sure that you're not changing too much. So that's why I didn't end up changing anything about the statements themselves. Yeah, okay, so that's a pretty common way of doing things. All right, so now we get into the Scooby-Doo chase of things, which is where you have the same statement come back in the middle of a bunch of random nonsense. And this is pretty common when classical musicians were composing or variations or, you know, whatever, improvising variations. They would throw a certain statement in there to keep the audience grounded in what the piece is. So let's go ahead and create that statement here. Let's change my key. I did put it on the original document in the key of F. So check this out. When I go to more options, if I don't want to mess with the final measure line here, what I can do, I'll click F major and then I'll click hide. What that'll do is it'll give me a double measure line instead of that nasty little heads up key signature change. And there's my new key signature. So pretty handy if you're doing exercises, you're writing out exercises, and you don't want people to see the changes there. Let's see. Okay, so that'll be our statement. Let's go ahead and copy it. And then I'm going to put it here just to make it symmetrical. And then to really tag things, I'm going to put it at the end. But maybe I'll make the ending a little bit different, so the ending won't be quite the same. Let's go ahead and re-input those guys because I'm not sure I like that. Okay, there we go. So now I've got myself some targets to aim for. Let's go ahead and make... Oh, there's something in there that sounds like Mario. That's funny. Let's go ahead and just the second time, rather than making it perfectly symmetrical, let's make an imperfect variation. I've taken the lower notes and I've raised them an octave. It's still a variation. It's basically a perfect variation, except one of the voices has been switched. All right, there we go. So here's my thematic material. Let's go ahead and fill it with a bunch of nonsense. Boo, do. All right. Oops, not what I want. Just to keep it consistent. All right, let's do that 3 times. All right. So nothing super wild or crazy about that. Let's see. Let's go here to... Okay, and then maybe let's copy this guy. Copy. Put it here. And maybe instead of a tenuto, we'll do just an accent there. Yeah. All right. Cool. Nothing super wild there. I just put in a bunch of random rhythms. I'm going to keep it around the key of F major. Whoops, not what I meant. Ah, that's what I meant. Nope. Okay, so I really just made that up. Let's go ahead and do something that's a little more cadential here. Whoops. Okay, sweet. So all I literally did was just throw a bunch of random stuff in there. I could have gone out of key. I could have gone in a non-repetitive rhythm. The main thing is that I've got this repetitive fragment which repeats here at measure 23, here at measure 27, and here again in measure 30. Because I've got this repeated glue, that helps hold my segment together. Okay, so there you go. Not the best writing I've ever done, but it sounds passable because I have this interesting repeated idea here at measure 23, here again at measure 27, here again at measure 30. So I cannot stress enough for you the importance of using motifs in your work, just small repeated chunks that will make you sound good. What you do in the middle doesn't necessarily matter as much as that main idea. Go listen to some jazz improvers and you'll hear that they have a main idea that they stick to and then a bunch of stuff in the middle that is much less important, at least in terms of structure, in terms of transition, than this stuff. So hope you've enjoyed. If you have ideas for future videos or if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. Otherwise, leave a like, maybe subscribe. Have a great day, stay warm, birds cold, and until next time, stay out of trouble.